What's up, guys? Welcome to the Kind of Funny Games Ask Me Anything for June 2017. I am Tim Gettys, and you submitted all of your questions over at patreon.com/kindoffunnygames for me to answer, and I'm going to do that today. It's going to be a fun time. Now, the thing is, we posted this on June 8th, which was before E3. So I'm seeing a couple of these questions asking me about E3 stuff. So obviously, I already know what happened. So we're going to get ahead of that. We'll figure it all out. We're going to have a good time. Our first question comes from Thomas Layfield. He says, "Hey, Tim. The peak of the PlayStation 2 era occurred when I was in college, and between a lack of funds and a hefty GameCube catalog, I never owned the system." Oh man, that is an issue. "If I were to purchase a PS2 now, what are a handful of games that didn't come out as PS3 remasters that you think I ought to seek out? Love you guys." That is a tough question to think about because most of the iconic PlayStation 2 games were remastered in some form, whether on PS3 or in other locations. Obviously, there's the Final Fantasy X, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Those were both remastered on the PlayStation 3 or 4. 3 and 4, actually, for both cases. So those are kind of the big Square games. Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 also were released as remasters on PlayStation 3. Grand Theft Auto, I think the thing that you missed out the most on would have been the Grand Theft Auto 3 trilogy. So GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and GTA San Andreas. Those were shockingly never remastered on the PlayStation 3, but they were remastered on iOS, which sounds weird, and it is weird. But if you can figure out a way to use a Bluetooth controller on your iOS device, whether it's iPad or iPhone or whatever the fuck, and this same is true for Android, Google Play or whatever the hell they call it. That is a good way to go there. There's also the PC collection, so there's many ways to play those games. So I recommend that for sure. I feel like especially Vice City is like required gaming when it comes to the PS2 era. You agree with me on that, Big Kev Dog?
Missed out on the question. One more time, bud.
Huh?
Missed
Vice
out
City.
on the Vice City
is required reading for PS2.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good.
So definitely think you got to get in there. I'm just trying to think of like the big iconic PS2 games. They were all remastered though. I'd say Devil May Cry is up there, and that was remastered. So
what about Kinetica?
You can play it there. Kinetica's not on the list of must plays, unfortunately.
See, do you know the funny story about Kinetica is I've always wanted to play it.
And you never could.
You never would let me.
Yeah.
And eventually we were
it's not that I never let you. There was always issues. There was one time I had the box, but a different game was in the box.
Sure.
And that was a disaster.
Guess where Kinetica is right now?
Is it right there?
Yeah, it
Hell
sure
yeah,
is.
You can play anytime you want.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So there was a lot of games during that era that were great, like Downhill Domination or Kinetica or the God of War games actually come to mind. But the God of War games were remastered, so they're already there. But there's a lot of these one-off games.
The Simpsons.
That you probably wouldn't have ever gotten to. But I don't necessarily think you need to go back and play. Like, I don't think that Downhill Domination is screaming your name. But then there was a lot of games like, what were you just mentioning? The Simpsons games?
Hit and Run.
Simpsons Hit and Run and all those games and NBA Street, whatever. But those are multi-platform. So if you had a GameCube, you did probably experience those,
and
or at least have
the same.
the option to.
That was all
but in terms of PlayStation 2 exclusives that were not remastered, I'm kind of having a hard time. The Jak and Daxter games, the Sly Cooper games, the Ratchet and Clank games, those are all remastered. The Prince of Persia games were multi-platform and remastered. Let me do a quick Google search.
Doing some Google searching, looking on Google.
PlayStation 2
see what's
exclusive games. Business Insider's 12 best PS2 exclusive games of all time. We got the Gran Turismo 3 and 4 experience, but honestly, if you like Gran Turismo, you can play new ones on the PS3 or 4 eventually when GT Sport comes out.
God, why? Why? It's been so long.
So long. Man, Business Insider, get your shit together. I hate this damn
Business Insider now.
Freaking bullshit with the ads. I have to open it up and okay, so Okami, but no, Okami was remastered. Katamari Damacy, I'm not sure if that was remastered. I don't think it was. I actually missed out on those games myself. Kingdom Hearts, like I was saying, the Jak and Daxter games, Metal Gear Solid, Shadow of the Colossus, and Eco. Those are huge ones, but those were remastered. God of War was remastered. Yeah, no, honestly, I think you're good. Luckily, Sony did a really good job of making sure that the games that could have been stuck there made the jump. What's our next question? Jason Fang. Pick 3 non-Nintendo characters for the next Smash Bros. Crash Bandicoot. Simon Belmont. See, I don't want to say someone like Master Chief because I feel like there has to be at least some history. And Master Chief never had beef with Nintendo, even though there was like that was past the mascot era. So it wasn't like people were pitting Mario against Chief in the way they did Crash and Sonic. I mean, we already got Mega Man, Pac-Man, Ryu, Cloud. Who the fuck would? God bless Super Smash Brothers. They made it happen. But yeah, Simon Belmont, Crash Bandicoot. We've had Solid Snake. That's fucking weird. I'm trying to think of the most iconic game characters that are not already in Smash Bros.
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk, yeah. No, I wouldn't add Tony Hawk. I mean, I feel like something totally off the wall would be fun. That isn't a game thing, but maybe like Spider-Man or Goku would be cool. Like just like let's really get out of the realm of sanity with this. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Let's go with that. Let's go with Crash, Simon Belmont, and Goku.
Nice.
Jason Bond says, do you think Nintendo Switch games are going to be under the mobile and handheld category at the Game Awards? Nope. I think the Game Awards are going to change how they title things or kind of categorize everything. And they'll figure it out. I'm not too worried. What I'm interested in is thinking about the Switch lineup at the end of the year when it comes to the game of the year time. Like if Mario Odyssey is as good as it's shaping up to be, it's going to be a freaking battle between that and Breath of the Wild, as well as all the other amazing games that come out this year, like Horizon. Good Lord, what a year. What a damn year. John Burleson says, what do you think will be in store for the Year of Dreams 3 Tokyo Drift, brought to you by Gatorade? We did our predictions episodes for the E3 show. I predicted a lot of get hyped moments. I was disappointed by most. I didn't get the Devil May Cry 5 or the Remake 2 or all these things that I was like crazy, or the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale or Kart Racer that I was dreaming of. But we did hear that Metroid Prime 4 is actually happening. So get hyped, son. Morgan K says, hey, homie, do you think you on... He wrote this weird. Do you honestly think that we'll get a Pokemon game other than Pokken on the Nintendo Switch, or should we all just stop holding our breath? What do you think it could be if we did? Also, do you think we'll get remasters and virtual console versions eventually? Love you always and forever, Morgan. P.S. Shout out to the realist Cool Greg. He's really cool. He is really cool. And guess what, Morgan K? Thanks to the beauty of time travel, you got what you wished for. We're getting a mainline console Pokemon game on the Switch in the future. It's going to be fucking awesome. That's all we know about it, is that it's coming, and it's not coming next year. So we'll see, but I'm very excited. Will it be different than the other Pokemon games we've experienced? I don't know. I can kind of see them sticking to the tried and true thing, just upping the ante a bit. I mean, even when you look at Sun and Moon, like who would have ever thought Pokemon games would be even that 3D? Like the console Pokemon experience we all wanted on N64 was essentially beat by Sun and Moon when you're thinking about it graphically. So I don't know. It'll probably be bigger. I don't think we're going to get a Witcher 3-esque Pokemon game. Although, fuck, that would be awesome. But I do think it's just going to be more of the same, but bigger. So we'll see, but that excites the hell out of me. Jack Simpson says, hello from Australia, Tim. Since there's been a lot of PS2 and PS1 classics ported on the PSN as of late, were there anything in particular you hope for from that era to play on your PS4? Thanks. P.S. Kevin, save the rebellion, save the trees.
Save the trees.
I mean, there's a lot of games that I feel like, and we were just talking about this in the last couple of questions, but I feel like a lot of games are stuck in that era and we're never really going to get them again because of licensing issues. I'd love to have the original Amplitude back, NBA Street Volume 2, the OG Tony Hawk games. I would love to just be able to pop back in and just play them again. Like a lot of the fun arcadey games that I feel like not that they've aged perfectly, but are still fun today, would be great to go back to. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is a great example, and we've seen that game have such licensing issues where it came back and it was taken away, and then came back again and then taken away. And that kind of sucks, but I don't ever foresee a future where that issue will be solved. So that kind of sucks. But hey, we're going to get them in some way or another. Spyro. Gotta believe.
We bring back Spyro now?
I'm hoping. Josh M says, not for the show, just to other patrons. What? Did last month's Q&As ever post? I probably missed them. Yeah. Right, Kev?
Yep. Posted the end of the month.
They posted the end of the month. The
Last
final
Saturday
of every month. These go public for people to see. Nicholas Price says, what's your most cherished memory as a gamer? The moment you look back on with the most love. For me, it is playing Super Mario World with my cousin and sisters for hours at a time. Thank you. You're the fucking best. I feel like there is two very distinct answers for me to this question. One of them is realizing that when I beat World 1 of Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, the first game that I ever owned, the first game I ever beat. But beating World 1, I thought I beat the game, and I didn't. And once it went to World 2 and I realized there was 6 tabs and I had so much more game to play, that blew my mind in such a way where I was never the same again. I realized that I loved video games and that there was just a magic to them and an emotional connection I had with them that I would carry with me, because later that day I went to Great America, which is this theme park we have here. And it's the theme park closest to us, so I have a lot of fond memories about that. But I remember, and especially when you're a little kid, theme parks are the most magical things in the fucking world. It's just like, how is this real? That there's just this place with all this awesome food and crazy rides and people in costumes and water rides and experiences. I don't even know what the fuck, there's Splash Zone and all this shit. Awesome stuff. But I was just, sorry, I'm getting excited now. I could not stop thinking about getting home and playing World 2 of this game that I enjoyed so much. And that was when I realized there was something really special. The other one would be my early high school years playing Halo 1 with all of my dudes in my friend Curran's house, and it being 16-player Capture the Flag, where all of us were in the same house, divided up in 2 rooms. And it was just the most intense experience because it took that couch co-op to the next level of it being multi-room warfare. And the amount of shit being talked where you could hear the other people screaming when they had the flag. Like, that is something that I feel like you can try to copy, but it would be impossible to replicate these days. So yeah, those are definitely my most fun gaming memories. John Dijon. It's like Dijon. It's like Dijon. I just don't know how to say that word, so that's the problem. What up, Tim? I think we both know retro gaming collecting is a deep, dark, expensive hobby that can become excessive and lead to countless hours on eBay. E3 was last week. I can't speak well. Let's imagine a future where you're making that Bernie Burns money and you're vinyl wrapped your Prius to look like Brian Splinter's 95. You're throwing a lot of references here. What could be the first retro game or console you would chase for your collection? Let's assume it's in mint condition and complete inbox. Again, that Bernie Burns dime where money ain't no thing. So feel free to aim high. With love, your friend, you the homie. P.S. Thanks so much for all your hard work in KFL 3. It was one of the best weekends of my life. You're welcome, and I hope to see you again next time we do it. Let's see. If I were to collect games, I mean, I'm lucky that I already own all the games that I'm like, I need to freaking have that. But in terms of stuff I don't have, I don't know. This seems like kind of a cop-out answer, but I'd love to have mint inbox original copies of Crash 1 through 3 and Team Racing. I'll add Team Racing in there too. Just because those are so important to me and they're so important to my career at this point that I'd love to kind of have them and, you know, portray them beautifully in my house somewhere that Gia can't reach to take them down. Christopher J. Brennan says, hey, Tim, there's something I've always been curious about, and I don't think it's been talked about very often. I've always dreamt of getting into games coverage in some way, shape, or form, but haven't gotten there as of yet. My question is, how much do game journalists get paid on average? I'm not getting into it for the money, obviously, but because of passion, however, reality is reality and money matters, especially if you have to live in San Francisco or some other expensive city. How do games coverage professionals survive on what I assume is less than adequate income for such high cost of living? I hope you're able to answer this, and I don't have to use this same question next time Greg's doing the show. P.S. Happy birthday, and I hope you are enjoying Crash. Thank you very much, Christopher. This is a very complicated question to answer because people don't like talking about money. However, I love talking about money, so you're asking the right fucking person. Games journalism doesn't pay shit, so that kind of sucks. Having said that, you deserve to get paid more than shit, and there are a lot of games journalists that get paid significantly more than shit when they stand up for themselves and make a positive case for themselves. I think that too often games websites and games platforms, whatever the hell they are these days, I don't even know, take advantage of the fact that it's people's dreams to work for them. So they're like, oh, they'll work for free. And they will. And they will work hard for free. And then eventually they will get paid minimum wage. And then eventually they'll get paid a little more than that. And it's just breadcrumbs to make people think that they're getting rewarded for the hours upon hours upon hours extra on top of their normal work week that they're putting in. And especially like just coming from E3 and just seeing how hard everyone works and knowing how hard our team works and everything, you're asking a lot out of people. Now, having said that, there is something to be said about the fact that these dreams do exist because other people put in a lot of hard work, and you can't just jump in and expect to benefit and reap the rewards and financial stability that these other people created and laid out for you. There's a balance, and work is hard, and trying to feel like you're being paid correctly is always hard in any industry doing any line of work. But I feel like as long as you are happy with the work that you're putting in and you are comfortable having a real conversation with your superiors, that is the difference between getting fucked over and playing the game. No one's ever going to be happy with what they're being paid. Everybody's always going to want more. Everyone's always going to, like, everyone's the main character of their own story. So to them, they're working harder than everyone else. And how come this person gets paid this much? Don't play that game. Worry about what you're doing and keep doing it. And the right people will notice. And if they're not noticing, you better make them notice. What do you have to say about this, Kev?
I mean, I totally agree with you. Like,
let me get that Kev cam.
Hold on, here it comes. Nope. Do you see where I am?
Mm-mm.
It's mini, Kevin.
You're right there.
Yeah, you got to work hard, but you also have to know how to like make people not like know that you're working hard, but like you have to be able to make them aware, and like that's the only way to move up. And well, then so once they're aware, then you have to make them aware. Hey, I want to get paid more.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like working for free can work sometimes. It often doesn't. So it's balance, knowing who you're working for.
Yeah. Like,
will this all pay off at the end is important.
Yeah, maybe or maybe not. And I think that's the other thing too, is it's like, this is shitty, but nobody owes anyone anything. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, oh, I'm working here for this much one day, which means, oh, one day they're going to pay me what I deserve. Right. That's not how it works. And I think all too often people think too highly of themselves and their worth because they hear other people say, hey, just do it. Like even what I'm doing now. I'm like, oh, just do whatever you're worth. That's not how it works, because when you do that, other people are looking at you and judging you. What it comes down to is every single thing that you do and every word you put out there and every friendship you make or break is all adding into this giant story of you trying to sell yourself. And I think that when it comes down to it, people, it's kind of like playing a telltale game. Blank will remember this, you know? You need to think about that. With every career move you make, you are positively and negatively affecting a group of people. That group of people is going to remember what you did. So you're taking every step you take with you. So sometimes it is about paying it forward and knowing that you're not getting paid what you deserve up front, because one day you will. but that's only with the right people. Otherwise, it can turn really dark really fast. Just try to find a good team. I think that's the best advice I can give is find people that you trust. I was lucky at IGN where I had a group of people I could look up to, like Nick, for example, and my other friend Eric and Darren, who were above me, and I could look at them and be like, all right, what did they do to get where they're at? And I saw a lot of other people that were in the same class as me kind of just fall by the wayside and never move up because they weren't playing the game right. I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting really long-winded here, but I definitely think there's a lot there. And you should always think about what you're doing. And if money is the biggest factor to you, games journalism might not be the right choice. But if you want to do something you love and get paid adequately, if you work hard enough, you can make that happen. 1 second. I just got a Slack and I want to figure out what's going on. Nothing important. Cool. Stephen Austin says, hey, Tim, I think I've missed every Q&A since it moved to this new format, but I'm still here. This year has been extremely busy in terms of game releases, and Kind of Funny schedule has been equally busy. Are there any games you have missed so far that you really want to get to? Love you guys. Nier Automata. Oh my God. I loved the demo. I played the first hour of it when it came out. That was right in the freaking mix of Zelda, Horizon, Colin leaving, planning Kind of Funny Live. All that stuff was in one month. So I did not get to play it, but man, that is definitely something I want to get back to. I don't know that I will. I don't know that I have time to, especially with all the other shit coming out, but it's high on my list, and that seems like such a great game. Adam Stewart says, what's up, Tim? Do you think there's an unnecessary push towards multiplayer in the games recently? I'm not really against it, but I definitely prefer single-player experiences. After E3 and taking into account a lot of recent games, it seems like there's more focus on social gaming than ever. With games like Skull and Bones, Anthem, and others like Destiny and Division still going strong, it seems like the only huge single-player games are coming from the first parties and exclusives like what Sony and Nintendo are putting out. As always, love and appreciate everything you do. I mean, I'm with you in the way that I prefer single player experiences. I don't like this whole social gaming thing, but we are in the minority. When it comes to that, so many people love it. And I feel like developers are getting better and better about understanding the balance of how those games work. In the last couple of years, there's been so much microtransaction bullshit, so much always online bullshit, all this stuff. But I feel like with every step, it's getting more and more quality of an experience. And while I'm never going to commit to doing that type of stuff, I'm happy that developers are finding ways to make that experience great for players that are looking for that, while simultaneously there's other developers making great single player experiences for us. And I'm happy to look at things like Mario Odyssey coming out. And yeah, it has a co-op feature, but that's more a fun thing for someone on a little kid to jump in on the couch and play around with, as opposed to something like Mario 3D World, where the levels were designed around a multiplayer experience that I think detracted from the single player side a bit. So that's where I kind of have an issue with it. But I think it's good for everybody when there's different experiences to be had at a high level of quality. So hopefully there's more of that. But yeah, I do wish the games like Anthem were more single player focused, because that shit looks awesome. Alex Bliss, aka Blissful Ignorance, says, hey Tim, what game do you think you spent the most time with in your life, hours-wise? For me, it was probably Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal on PS2. Also, do you think that the games and or media that we spent the most time with and loved as kids influenced the games and media we enjoy now? Much love, fam. Definitely think that the games we played when we were young and the media we took in make who we are now. Like, that is entirely who I am. Games I spent the most time with, I think that as a franchise, Super Smash Brothers. That's an easy answer. Which Super Smash Brothers? I think Brawl probably was the game I played the most hours of, because that game came back into my life in about 4 different waves, where I played with my friends, like my really hardcore friends, when we had the Japanese version for countless hundreds of hours. And then when it came to America, like a month later, we played it again for like a whole summer, just every day. So that was a lot there. And then we stopped. Then we came back to it when college came around. And then we came back to it again when I moved to when I got a job at IGN, and we would play it every day after work. So yeah, probably Smash Bros. Brawl. Let's see. Oh, here we got some fun stuff. Let's see. Israel C. Hey Tim, Kingdom Hearts. I've never cared for the series. When I said I wanted to try it out, all the remix and 0.5s confused me on where to start. In recent years, Disney acquired the rights to Anastasia. Kingdom Hearts 3 has been in development for who knows how long. What do you think is the likelihood of Anastasia characters being in the game? And do you think it'd be necessary to play some of the previous entries for someone unfamiliar with the series? There is a 0.0% chance of Anastasia or any of the Anastasia characters being in Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm sorry, but that is way too obscure and not Disney. Even if they bought it, that's like, I'm pretty sure Disney also bought like Totoro and all that. We're not going to see Totoro in the game. Although that'd be dope. Kingdom Hearts, man, I don't know. I don't know where the best jumping point is. I honestly kind of feel like there isn't a good jumping in point. I feel like when 3 comes out, it will be the most modernized core game. So I hope that they do a good enough job of telling you all the story beats you need to know and introducing you to the characters you need to know to have fun with the game. I mean, they better when there's been such a gap. And when this game's coming out, for example, on the Xbox, which doesn't have any of the lineage, any of the history, like they need to make it a strong jumping on point. I tried playing through 1.5 and 2.5 remix recently, and I have such fond memory of the game, and I love Kingdom Hearts, and I love the idea of what it is of Final Fantasy and Disney meshing and mixing, and it's super great and super awesome. It'll always be one of my favorite games of all time. However, I don't know that it holds up. And playing through 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, which I think is what it was, which is kind of the weird Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes-esque bridge into Kingdom Hearts 3 that I played in January this year. I really started to see like, oh man, like I've grown up past this a little bit where the cringy dialogue is less acceptable is not the right word, but I just don't enjoy it as much. It's a little too over the top anime, which is a good thing. And if you're looking for that, obviously there's a ton of people that are, but like, what I want from Kingdom Hearts now is tight gameplay and a fun story that takes all the Disney worlds and gives me a fun world to be in. And I think that it's pretty far from that at this point. But we'll see when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out in 2028. Mike Doherty, big old double D, has a question here. He's going to be a guest on Gamescast in a couple weeks. He helped out with Kind of Funny Live 3, challenged me to the Bandicoot Bash. Let's see what he has. Hey, Tim, as someone who came from behind the camera to on camera, can you tell me your tips and tricks for acclimating to being on an on-camera personality? What have you learned during the transition, and what tricks do you have for being entertaining on camera? As someone who has been working my whole life toward getting into space, I'm curious on how you became such a natural and the struggles you've had along the way. Keep them jeans high and tight and stay glassy. Love, Double D Doherty. Yes, you guys really need to do shorts. I know we do need to do shorts. We've been talking about that a lot. I mean, the funny thing is, I'm only a behind the camera guy first because of my history at IGN. I've been an on camera guy since I started because I made YouTube videos, and I've always seen myself that way. IGN saw me as behind the camera. That was their bad. But that's the whole let Tim host thing and all that. Like, I've been doing this forever. Doesn't mean I'm good at it, but I've been doing it forever, and I do see myself as a modern producer, which means I'm able to do it all. I can write, produce, be in, and edit a piece of content, and that's what it is. So I don't really think of it as behind or in front of camera. It's more just, can you do it? Can you make video? And I think a lot of people that grew up in my age group feel the same way and are capable in the same way. I think you're an example of that. Like, I know you do the stuff with Chiptooth Gaming. That is you through and through. It's you and your boys doing all that stuff. So it's like you're producing the content just means being in the content and making it happen. So struggles I had were people that were old school and didn't see it that way. Just people that wanted to make it very, you're behind the camera, you're not behind the camera. And I think that something that we found was kind of funny is I've seen the failures of holding people back and telling them they can't do something. That's what causes the problems. An example is Andy. When we brought Andy on, it was never, hey, you're behind the scenes. Like, you can't be on camera. You're an editor. Where it's more like, you're an editor, but yeah, sure. No, you can totally be on camera. Like, whenever it makes sense, we'll put you on. If it doesn't make sense, we won't. And I feel like that kind of lifts the weight of this, like, seedy desire to like do things that you're not allowed to do. So anyway, that's what I think. Final question from Nicole Humphrey. Tim, do you have any thoughts on Blast Corps? In my opinion, a forgotten gem of the N64. I never played it, but I really like the box art. Those are my thoughts. Maybe I should play it one time. We'll see. Maybe I'll buy it on eBay. Plug it into a N64. Boot it up on this 4K screen. I don't know if that's possible. Kev, is that possible?
Yeah.
Were you listening to what I was saying?
No, 100%.
No, not at all. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this AMA on Kind of Funny Games. We'll be back next month with someone else. It's going to be a good time. Till then, peace, love, skeet, and cheese.
Oh, Jesus. Skeet and
That's
cheese.
Timothy Delgado sign off.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
I'm tired, Tim.